Yes, good morning. I would like to respond to this also in audio. First of all, I would like to blame this girl, this worker, this migrant worker. She's wrong. She's wrong to preempt her boss into that worst situation or that bad reaction due to her actions. The way she reacted after being asked to transfer. First of all, the girl's mind was termed to reject. Maybe I will use that simple word, and this is what we have been complaining about. That all girls, 90% of girls from Uganda mainly, they have been set in mind to reject anything, to reject immediately, even without reasoning. They don't follow any sets of amendments in any law, whether in Saudi Arabia or Uganda. Rather, for them, they keep on pronouncing things that really sometimes don't fit. At a time, they are in trouble, or they need change, or they need an advice. Now, where is her problem? She first of all doesn't know she works for someone with a contract. She may mention that she has a contract, but she don't know what that contract talks about. What she was told right from home is what she's mentioning, which does not rhyme or does not actually coincide with the contract. She keeps on mentioning, you have heard her mentioning how she was taken by company so and so. Now you wonder why she has to mention that company with that minor issue. Secondly, the contract she's doing allows her to be transferred, and according to the new rules, transfers are not haram. They're not forbidden. They can be, they can happen. A girl can be transferred or can seek to be transferred, or the boss can see it fit to transfer you, to give you over to someone, but through following a process, which I think they're trying to upgrade, that let it be done via Musaned, which is okay. We don't have a problem. But in this case, this girl, she's making a mistake. She's wrong. First of all, in the way she's talking, you cannot order your boss or a person whom you think is not doing right to you to be the one to give you the justice, to give you the redress. It cannot be. It cannot happen whatsoever, because it's not in her interest. It's not in that victimizer's interest. It's not in your master's interest to give you what you wish. If it is in his interest, he would have given you exactly that. He would have taken you first to office. He would have exactly done what you think, than first rotating you or taking you somewhere different. Now, here is what all the stakeholders, the seniors, did not see. And problems always arise from here. When a girl begins to speak in reverse, at a time she's not supposed. At a time she has to keep calm and reports herself, to report to a third party, a person who is neutral, a person who is in interest of this worker, who should come up and negotiate on her behalf. It is not this girl to command her boss. It is actually wrong that take me to office, because I was recorded, to switch to that wherever I'm tempted to say so. That take me to office, buy me ticket, I go back home. When her boss realizes and listens to these words, to be sincere to you, this boss will get perturbed, and eventually this boss will switch in mind to continue torturing this girl, because it will sound like a familiarity of the highest order. How can my servant order me to do the contrary to my orders. This has not been observed, and yet it is the common mistake that is landing most of the workers in hell, wherever you've had them ending in their matters. This is how they switch to run to social media, because in their reason they were told or fixed in mind to always claim for that. And yet it's not wrong for someone to be asked to be taken to office, but who should say it? Is it the girl in trouble? Is it the girl in this challenge, or someone who is responsible to follow up on this girl is supposed to find out from the girl of what is happening, and this girl should report to this person, and this person makes a call or approaches the boss to inform her that, please, Mr. Employer, our own is reporting ABCD. Is it right, or why would you do so to our own? Or do it like this in our suggestion. This could simply solve problems amicably without these girls having to leave or jump up and down, leaving their working premises according to the contracts. But because of the negligence and the gap that is there, most of these workers have been left to continue speaking as they want, exacerbating their issues, leading their bosses to also expose them to anarchy. As time goes, you'll find that this girl will be ended somewhere in a very strange and very difficult situation, because her boss will be forcing her to adhere, to adopt, to agree to his commands. Most of them have gotten minor challenges that do not need actually to call anyone. It's about reasoning. It's about approach. That's why we tell them, how many people have you heard from migrant workers' voice coming out to narrate and lament these minor issues that they are turning into problems? Why all members of migrant workers' voice are settled? They are quiet, doing their work. Don't they face the same challenges? Because the approaches, the reactions, the adherence to issues is different. We have been there for them since day one, that we cannot let them do or make any mistake. Through sharing our experiences and always being there wherever there are issues for them to consult, and they get exactly what they should do, and this is how they have survived, keeping their contracts until they go back home. But all these girls that have decided to be taken by their companies as babies, as house managers, they are dumped in the same situations in Saudi Arabia, and they are left like that until they are ended in such horror. They start reasoning in uncoordinated manner. Some of them don't know anything to do about negotiation or coming down, not even knowing how to say the word sorry in times when they are wrong. Others don't know how to stand assertively and demand for what they deserve. Issues like salary. A salary is a right, is an obligation that someone has or owes you. Someone should not cowardice to ask her salary and insist on that I want my salary within this house before I leave, other than them mentioning salary at the same time, take me to office. You who has denied me salary, take me to where I can report to you. Stupidly. That cannot happen. This person, you don't know the reason why she's denying you salary. You don't know. She may be just tempting you only to speak stupid things against your contract, which is constructive dismissal. This boss might not be having that intention to actually deny you the salary, but this boss may be testing your patience until you begin exposing your arrogance to them. Some of them deny salaries because they have issues which you have not gone ahead to find out. You call a boss and the boss clearly tells you, you know what, I got issues, I lost my relatives, I did ABCD, I have just paid my house. I have spent a lot of money, but I'm not intending to deny this girl salary. Please talk to her. Let her not put me in panic. I am going to pay all her money. But how do we get this reason from the boss? Because we approach the boss before the girl mentions any stupid thing that provokes the boss to continue torturing her. This is where we are calling upon all of you there. You are keeping these girls into small cocoons there, but there are general classes. There is a general guidance class that they need to attend to from time to time throughout their contracts, just to reawaken them, to give them a boost, to have that strength, to always be oriented where they do not see, things go well. They need to be reignited to continue within their contracts. Other than we always telling them, please walk away, drop it. Something that really jeopardizes these bosses or their employers' wish. Their employers invest a lot of money in these girls. And when these girls begin talking in reverse, the employers now think of, I cannot lose my money. Let me find anywhere I can dump you and I pick my money. I get my payback. You want me to take you to your office? I will not. First of all, you have familiared me. How can you order me to take you to office? Let me take you where I want, because I have a right to transfer. Now she drives you east, left, right, center, until you get back to your normal senses. Some of them have gotten crazy within that very challenge, that the bosses begin teasing them, showing them or proving to them that we are the masters. Something we must all know. They are the employers. We cannot keep pulling ropes with them. And we cannot set ourselves raising our bars to think that we are so special than them. Even though they have their rights, we have our rights in that contract we are serving. And that's why we do not want them to infringe. But how do we begin to that? Are we really so strong? Not really. So we have to set ourselves stronger, because I don't think a small maid can bargain for herself in that sense. It cannot. It is always the girl. The defense should always come from the people who are oriented, who are experienced, who are senior, who have gotten a view, an objective, a positive view about this girl's contract. People who will come and guide this girl, get this girl to keep on the track without failing, without feeling that fail in herself. But why? Because there is a gap. Nobody is there allocated for that. Every work is assigned to the embassy link. It is the embassy link and the location now working. What does it mean? It means now everything will be switched to the embassy link and location. You cannot afford to work like that. We cannot. Now this girl is ending in a desert, being threatened to be dumped in a desert. But you remember where she began from. From the salary. A salary issue which has many options to resolve. One option is to be patient until the right time comes to be paid. That is the hard one. The second option is to get someone to negotiate on your behalf without you leaving the contract. There was no need for this girl to be transferred simply because of a salary. There was no need until she was transferred to a second house where hell breaks rules and she's not listened to at all. We have always mentioned here that girls don't see far, or they don't look critically to understand how the future or their future can be when they keep transferring. Most of them have suffered more than what they were going through before leaving the first house. Some get to regret now after being transferred to a third or fourth or the other house, when they find that different houses have almost similar experiences but different in nature. In action. One is raping, another one denies the salary, and another one denies you food. Another one doesn't want to talk to you. He says you are smiling. Another one thinks you don't work. So if you are that character of a give up, you'll find yourselves always asking for me, I want to go, I want to go, I want to give up, wanting to give up all the time. That cannot be encouraged among our own. If we are to mean real business and real sense in whatever we are trying to call this safe labor migration, the cap must happen. I mean, we must put a cap when we get involved into their issues, well into their contracts. And where need be that they need a labor court, a dispute resolution. First place, dispute resolutions should apply when the workers have gotten a backup, a special body to always give them a defense in such issues before you head to the labor court or to Minister of Labor. You don't need actually to rush to Minister of Labor, because it will also appear that you are becoming too much onto this boss. Or you find that the bosses know where the labor court is, but they don't want to take you there because they know they are pushing you to the wall. So who should always find ways to reach this labor court or this labor office? They should be the responsible fellows to guide this work on site. They will have to assess and see the situation of this girl. Does it really need us to go to labor court, or we can negotiate? If the boss is given some chances to have a say, I mean, to listen to this boss and this girl, can't we resolve this at our level without moving up and down? So we have got to think and see that we can always be present for these girls and tell these girls to belong, because we cannot be present for someone who is not our member, who is not a member actually. One must know you, must belong to you, such that when you come to defend this person, already knows you and does not deny, not to know, or even doesn't know the rules you use to come in and give this defense. Other than we leaving the girls to wait and first get issues, going into messes, and then they come looking for help. That thing means that we choose to go active than proactive. We can prevent all the mayhem if we counteract and act accordingly. We are exposing these Ugandans into the danger. We are teaching them to act in a very funny way, which is contrary to the rules of the contract, actually, because the contract doesn't say all that she's assuming. She assumes she was told, when you have problems, mention the name of your company. Now you ask, what's wrong with the company in Uganda? Does it even come in any, when you hear this, where does it come in? The company in Uganda, does it come anywhere? Apart from her mentioning her company as an address, as a point of address. But she could resolve this issue even without mentioning that company if she was belonging to the body. Why would you bring in this company? Is it the company denied her salary? Is it the company in Uganda that took her to another house? Even I think this company did not know whether she was transferred, because these girls go into bickerings with their bosses until things happen behind closed doors, and you don't know when she's confiscated of a phone. You and me may not know, including the company in Uganda, including the embassy. Now, without we having a track record of these workers one by one right from home, we cannot reach or maneuver and change this narrative. Because first of all, the embassy doesn't need to wait for the girl to get in problem. The girl has to be known her status before even anything happens. Because we know some of them may be denied, may be lacking, their problem may be communication. So the embassy doesn't need to wait until someone in Saudi Arabia called Kadama complains, and then the embassy begins asking, what are the details of that girl? That means there is a problem with the embassy and the stakeholders. You cannot say after these 15 years down the road, when we are carrying out this labor export issue, you cannot trace numbers. You cannot know workers by names or by codes. That code A, B, C, D, stroke or 2 is in this location, or is the one who complains, who is complaining now. You cannot, because these workers are supposed by now to come out with their codes if they are to report in social media. My code or my number is 023. It will automatically show in the system of the embassy that number 023 with all her details, without actually mentioning all her names for protection of a victim. She may come up and say, I am number 1024. Number 1024, I am here in a challenge, facing such and such a challenge. I need assistance. It will reveal all the details, including the numbers of the bosses or the responsible parties that are having this girl, without you going to first ask the girl, tell us, what is your boss's number? Tell us, which company took you? Tell us. Some of them cannot, of which cannot even mention. They don't know. Some of them have been confiscated passports. But here is the system which claims to keep data, and then they cannot concentrate this data to have that kind of system that helps these workers to get the redress they deserve in time. You see? Secondly, workers have to be compelled to belong. If they don't belong, you won't be able even to use that system, because these are human beings. These are human beings. You will not just command as you want or jump over and push them onto what they are not committed to. Workers, human beings need commitment. That's why governments, or when the states were being formed, they came up with the system of a social contract, which we call a constitution. A social contract, which social contract that compels people to have a set of rules that they all adhere to, they bow down and try to follow. They follow. Like in Uganda, we have the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, which controls us to follow wherever, wherever we may want to go access. We may want to go excess over each other. We find ourselves being checked by the Constitution. Citizens can choose, for instance, to commit mob justice over every wrongdoer or every person, every thief around the city. We could ban and kill. I remember in 1990s, when around my home village, they used to just kill thieves. And yet police was there, but because it was in a distance, wherever they got a thief, those matoke thieves, they just light fire and they ban these thieves. But of recent, because of the set of rules that have been put in place, people may fear to do so, because they know the repercussions. If they catch you, you will be taken to also answer. Why did you kill someone before the law? Before you faced the law, you could report. The excessive actions among human beings have to be checked by sets of rules. A set of rules that govern them. Men would be raping anyone they find on the street if there was no law that stops them to do so. They would be free to do anything. If there were no set of social contract that everyone signs to socially affiliate. You have seen even in the political terms here in Uganda, even other countries, people follow constitutions. When it comes time for voting, the current president doesn't go excess, because for him he's already the president, but he can still choose to do so if there is no constitution that tells him that your term is over now, please go back, they check you, you come again. The same way when labor export was begun in Uganda, it was not left like that without a set of rules. Rules and regulations were put in place. The ones we had those of 2005, and now the revised ones of 2001, which are fake. I will call them fake because they do not mention all these issues that are affecting workers. They only regulate recruiters. These regulations don't look at the regulation and welfare of workers. It looks at only the recruiters. That's why you find the recruiters, by the way, these companies can choose to traffic us. They are able to manipulate everyone and they traffic us. But why they don't do so? Because they have a set of rules that govern them within the confines, and they know that I should not go over the other point, because I might infringe on somebody else's what rights. Yes, we know there is a contract between the workers and the bosses in Saudi Arabia and elsewhere. But who is there to monitor and see or oversee these contracts, looking at how we can relate? Secondly, amongst the workers, even if Uganda formed a set of regulations that govern recruitment agencies in Uganda, it did not stop there. Even these recruitment agencies have individual contracts between them and their counterparts in Saudi Arabia. Why do they have these two documents? First of all, they use the Ugandan regulation to enter into business, and they are regulated throughout. Secondly, they sign contracts between their counterparts. They do not stop there. Government goes ahead and signs agreements between their country-to-country relations. They sign, Uganda and Saudi, they sign an agreement. Why they bring all these three sets of social contracts? Because they want order. But if you are to ask, what social contracts do workers who are sent by individual companies follow? Do they have any set of rules that really compels them? The girls of this category, the workers of this category, what set of rules do they follow before we expose them to anyone in social media to be their helper, to take advantage of them? If that would work, then why would you license and bring up regulations to license these companies? Leave them also to be free for anyone to take girls, because they have a freedom to do business. Minister of Gender should leave these companies to be free. Stop your licensing thing. The licensing thing has nothing to do with us. You mean companies cannot take us without your license? They can. Should we also use that line to challenge you? If you do not want to set rules or to give workers a liberty to associate, ILO is not stupid to tell you that workers should go via unions or associate. Why the Constitution of Uganda is saying that workers should be associated, or anyone has the freedom to associate. The reason is that for them to have sets of rules that can even compel them to disciplinary committees, that can compel them to defense, to collective bargaining, which you don't give. And now you want to continue casting Ugandans into this hell while you are exploiting them, because that is the end result. You want to mix them, leave them scattered at the mercy of everyone in the industry, just like as if we are in a trafficking zone, at the mercy of every stranger, until they are messed up, until they have to begin mentioning, I will call them silly responses to their bosses, to their grievances. Because they are alone. They are alone. They don't know. They have to plead for mercy from the person who sold her there. I have to first call my person, my recruiter in Uganda, who sold me, and she already earned her $1,000, whatever much they earn per head. Now I have to go beg for the person who sold me to come into my matter. That when I come out in social media, I have to shout the name of the person who recruited me, such that they feel mercy for me. That confusion should stop. We are mixing the country. People may not listen to this level we are trying to articulate, but that is it. We want to assume that the suffering of Ugandans in Saudi Arabia is brought about by the companies in Uganda. No, if the companies in Uganda have done their best to take these girls through lawful means, whichever, if they have done their best, first of all, to come and get a license from you, that means they want to embrace order. They want to queue. Don't delay them in the queue. And after not delaying them in the queue, when they deploy, it is incumbent upon you, government, to see that you embrace order. You follow up. You know exactly where the people you are clearing go. Because that's the meaning of clearance. What are you clearing when you don't know where what you are clearing is going? And then when they get in trouble, you begin now referring that, talk to so and so has a system. Go via the system. Even when those whom you want to go via the system cannot read the system, or they are short of internet to use the system. You see, the problem comes from there. Oluusi bino tubyogera, yes, audio ne ziwanvuwa, abamu temulina budde buwuliriza ate nga mwefuula busy mu mukola business, but I don't want to listen to this. It's up to you. We don't care. But for those who take time and meticulously listen, they have always got our point. So I want to conclude by saying that it is very wrong. We would have avoided all this if we were given our own administration as workers to manage our affairs. Some issues are really small. They don't need to reach that far. Some issues are really very small, but most of our own have been ended in trouble because they are not helped in the first place. Lastly, some of our own have a bad thinking, a bad reason. They need to be checked. They need to be helped to understand. Some of them have misbehaved seriously. And how will you check them when they do not have a sense of belonging? You cannot check them. You want to say you are taking angels? I don't think so. You are not taking angels to Saudi Arabia. You are taking human beings who are entitled to error. They can err. But how do you check their excesses? We cannot be here only to blame Saudi bosses. Sometimes the Saudi bosses are right, and sometimes they are wrong. How do we check the two? Sometimes the migrant workers are right, and most of the time they are right, but their approach is wrong because they are right to demand their salary, but they don't know how to demand it. They want to command their bosses. Take me to office. Give me a ticket, I go back home. I will not work. How can you advise a worker to demonstrate alone? Can that happen? It cannot. So we should think twice about our actions. And then if we don't do so, we shall remain to blame. I thank you.